Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly Facebook Live. Welcome to a new week. Welcome to a new start. I'm very excited to be here with you guys. Excuse my somewhat raspy voice. I went to Coney Island this weekend and rode on a lot of rides. So I was doing a lot of screaming. So my voice is a little bit raspy, but I'm very excited to be here with you guys. Very excited and grateful for this beautiful new week in front of us where truly anything is possible. It is so important for us to remember that and not get bogged down in the to-do lists or the stress or the money or the clients or the nitty-gritty of life and business, and really remember what a blessing it is to have a week in front of us that we can do absolutely whatever we want during. It's truly incredible. And I'm really excited to kick off this week with you talking about a topic near and dear to my heart because it's something that I feel like I didn't do a very good job of in the beginning, and I kind of wish I would have known the things that I'm about to tell you. And that is all about passive income and the online business world and the way passive income looks, the way it works, the way things actually go behind the scene, etc. So that is what we are going to be talking about today. If you guys have any questions about starting a business, my business, passive income, not passive income, but just making money, anything like that, I love when you guys ask me questions live. That's why we do this live. So I would love to hear. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get going. I am Leah. I am your host today. This is the Your Biggest Vision show where we focus on your vision. We focus on fighting for your vision, even when other things are not fighting for it. And it even feels like things are fighting against it some of the time. I know how that can be, but your vision is the most important thing in the world. And this show is designed to help you make sure you're always fighting for it. And one of the ways we do that is keep it really real and don't try to sugarcoat everything because that doesn't help anyone. Then when you are going through the trenches that do come with any sort of big action, you are ready to handle it and you know it's normal and you know that you can do it, and you're not thinking that just because you're going through a difficult time means that things aren't going to work out for you, because that's just not true. And today's topic is just about that. Today's topic is what I think to be something that is not very well discussed in general. And maybe some people would argue with that. Maybe some people do think there's people being honest about it. But in my experience, I just really want to share my own story. I did not feel like this was talked about well. And that is sort of the facade of passive income and the allure of it and the seduction of it. And the desire to see online people working from a hammock or having a coconut on the beach and making $1,500, $1 million with their income reports from a passive funnel, and they never need to work, and they're going to show you how to do the exact same thing. Anyone heard that or been excited about that? Raise your hand. Let me know that you feel me. And also just let me know where you guys are coming from. Where are you all tuning in from? I'd love to hear. Even if you're watching the replay, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm in New York. It is kind of groggy today, but it's going to be a good day. So when I started, I remember seeing on Pinterest lots of bloggers that were talking about how they built an online course. They charged something like $200 or $300 for it, nothing crazy. And they were selling it, and it was really easy to scale because you only needed to create it once, and then you could sell an unlimited amount of it. And they were making, $10, $20, $30, $50,000 per month from these online courses. Maybe some of you guys have seen this kind of thing as well. I do think that the trend has gone away from it a little bit, but it used to be really popular. And these people that were selling them would then write about how excited they were that they were having completely passive income. They were waking up to sales on their phone. They were not even really having to do that much work anymore because they had this great scalable product. They felt like they were living the 4-hour work week. You guys know the whole deal. And so I was totally one of those people that was like, sign me up. I wanted to know all about how I could not be in my 9-to-5 job, how I could have something so passive at such a young age. I was like 22 or 23 when I started doing all of this. I wanted to know how I could, leave my job. I wanted to know how I could not be making $45,000 a year, $50,000 a year, whatever you're making at an entry-level salary. I was there for it. So I did all the things that people told me to do. I created a course, I built a website, and just sort of like thought that the sales would come flooding in after that. And spoiler alert, they did not. And I actually did make sales at the first e-course I sold, which now looking back, I think is like an achievement in itself, because it's just not that easy to sell anything. But of course, it was not anywhere near, what some people were talking about or what I had hoped it would be or anything like that. And without going too deeply into my whole path and exactly what happened to me, what I really want to talk about is 6 things that I would have told myself back then that I wish I would have known when I was starting out, when I was really excited about the idea of making passive income. And what I want to tell to people now that, come to me or are even just watching this or listening to this or sitting on Instagram, seeing people that have all this quote passive income and that their life seems super simple. And these are just the things that I think are important to talk about in terms of that. And I want to preface this by saying that I fully believe in passive income. I do have passive income streams now. I think I don't think those people that are, showing off this lifestyle are lying at all. I think that it's completely possible to have a life like that. So I want to be clear that I'm not saying it's a total myth. There's just a lot to it that isn't talked about and should be before you decide if this is what you're going to go all in and do, and if it's what you're going to do with your life and your business and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing that I have, come to realize now after over 3 years of having my business, quitting my own job, building it to 6 figures, being able to have $10,000 plus months every month, I don't know why I or anyone else think that starting an online business means you don't need to invest in your business. And I think a lot of times people think of this, they kind of see that this is possible and they want a side hustle because they're not making enough at their 9-to-5 job. And I get that, I was there. And so they kind of think that like if they start a blog and, pay for WordPress and maybe get some social media pictures taken, like then that's going to cut it. And it's just not. If you want to start a business, then you need to treat it like a business. And doing that is not a business mentality. Doing that says so many things to me now. Like if someone were to come to me and they were to say that they didn't have enough money to invest in their business, this is what I hear when I hear that now. 1, I don't believe in myself, because if I did believe in myself, then I understand the term investment means something you get back again and again. It's something that pays off. It's not something that is just a bottomless pit. So if you aren't investing in yourself or your business, that tells me you don't believe in your idea or your own drive or your own self-discipline. Otherwise, you would be, doing whatever it took to make this come to life so that you could get that investment back tenfold. That's 1. 2, it tells me that they aren't really understanding that this is a business and it's not just a hobby for you to do for fun where you're going to make an extra $5,000 a month. It's just not how it works. You look at brick and mortar businesses and the level of actual investment that we need as online business owners to get off the ground in comparison to a brick and mortar business is incredible. We do have very low overhead. So you don't need to necessarily go out and get a business loan or get funders or get capital or fundraise or anything like that. But you need to have money to invest in it in order to get it off the ground and market it and educate yourself on what it is you really want to be doing, and have mentors and have people that are supporting you and have people that are teaching you and have a actual professional website. Like no one's going to buy from you if your website is a free WordPress site. They're just not. I wouldn't. That does not tell me that the person is taking their business seriously. Why would I buy something from them if they don't even take themselves seriously? I can't take them seriously if they don't. So if anyone here listening, and again, I am only saying this all because I thought all of these things. So this is stuff that like little Leah, I wish I would have known a few years ago. When I was so hesitant to invest in my business, or I was so afraid to spend a few $100 or even $1,000, I wish I would have been more blunt with myself and realized that money in that way is a huge indicator of your own faith in yourself and faith in God or the universe or whatever you really identify with. But if you are someone that believes in yourself, you believe in the possibility that happens when you take risks, you believe that things are working out for yourself, and you believe in your idea and your work ethic, then investing, you're excited to do it. because you're excited to see the money be made back time and time again relatively quickly, or not. You know, we're not about dictating these whole timelines, but you do believe in yourself. So that tells me that people don't believe in themselves, and it tells me that they don't actually see it as a business. And I was like that. I mean, I wanted it to be a business, but I was so scared and I was so afraid to spend my money because I wasn't making that much money. And I just thought that it was irresponsible of me to spend the money that I did have on something I wasn't sure that I was going to make back yet. But now I can see how twisted that is, because investing in my business, starting my business, has still to this day been the best financial move I've ever made. I never would have been able to make the income that I have now if I was still at a 9-to-5 job, period. So anyway, I've kind of gotten on a tangent on this one. You guys can clearly see I'm passionate about it. And the reason I'm passionate about it is because when people have these objections, they are robbing themselves of their own potential. They have an idea. They have something they're excited about. They want to start something, but they're too terrified to invest in themselves, and they are robbing themselves of the opportunity to make a difference. They're robbing their bank accounts of the opportunity to grow. They're robbing an audience, the world, like whoever out there that they would reach with their business, the opportunity to be impacted. They are so holding themselves back and playing small, and it just really breaks my heart. So I want us all to be in reality about what's actually going on when we think we're being, quote, responsible for not spending money or investing money in ourselves and our businesses, when a lot of the time it is an indication of fear or a lack of trust. Okay, moving on to the next thing that I wish I would have known earlier on. So when I was looking at these people's income reports, right? Like that used to be such a big thing. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it used to be really popular for bloggers to publish how much they were making online every single month. And you know, that's for a whole list of reasons. It can be because they want to be really transparent about how much they're making, which I super appreciated. I mean, I'm still really grateful that I used to see those reports, because it did give me inspiration earlier on that, you know, this is something that could really sustain me. This is something that could make my financial life better. So anyway, all this is to say, there were a lot of income reports. And I remember being blown away seeing some people have like tens or multiple 5-figure months from selling like a few $100 course. Like they must have been selling so many of them, right? What I didn't understand is that nearly all, if not every single one of the sales that those people were making with their e-courses were to their email lists. So at that time, I was still living in like my fantasy land, where I thought that if you had a good enough course or product or anything and you put it on your website, then like the world would just know, and anyone who wanted it would just like have some sort of telepathic insight where they'd go find your website and then buy it from you, and like that's how it worked. I had no idea that really the only way to actually sell and make money is through an email list. It is very hard to make a lot of sales on social media because those people aren't necessarily like your fans. They're also not necessarily going to follow up. Like people don't open the Instagram app to go buy something. They do it just like to scroll or be mindless or whatever. And then same with your website. You have to have a huge amount of traffic to actually inspire people to take action and, you know, buy something from you. So almost all of those sales were coming from an email list. And at the time, I did not have an email list, barely knew what it was, wasn't really sure how I could grow one or what to do with it. And then even then, I started to find out that people who were selling to their email lists usually would sell to about 1 to 3% of their entire list. So we're going to do a little math there. If you have 100 people on your email list and you sell it to 1 to 3% of them, then that's 1 to 3 people. So if you have a 2 or 3, let's say a $300 e-course, and you sell it to 1% of your email list, then you make $300. If you sell it to 3% of your email list, then you make $900. So as you can see, people need to have tens of thousands of people on their email list actively buying every single month in order for them to earn 5-figure plus months just from a few $100 course. I didn't know this. I had no idea that I was going to need an email list of that many people that were that engaged, that like I had to build. Like email lists are expensive to build. Talk about investing. That is what I would invest. If I could go back, that's what I would invest in right away, and what I wish I would have sooner. So, that was a huge wake-up call, really realizing that it's going to take so much marketing, and it's not something that's just going to be there when you put it up there. So if you think that just because you can create a course, or you have some people following you on social media or whatever, that you're going to be able to, sell that much, I really encourage you to look at the importance of an email list and start growing that, and really understand that you need to have a huge volume of people on that list in order for you to actually profit the way you probably want from something like a course. Okay, the next thing I wish I would have known, or that I just would have been I would have taken into consideration. I really want everyone to think about this if you are trying to build any sort of passive income stream. You can really lose human connection when you do that, when that is your primary focus. And I think for me, when I was going into this, I was just so excited about having passive income that I just didn't think about this at all. And I didn't realize, or like put two and two together, that you are going to get lonely and not really feel the impact that you're making if you don't even talk to your customers, or if you don't even really know how they're doing, or if you don't even really see the results that they get. I mean, sure, you can kind of follow up with them or whatever, but for the most part, you are building a business of isolation because you're not relying on yourself to really connect with the people that are buying from you. And that can be a bit lonely. And I wish I would have really considered that, because now, I'm so passionate about the results I get from my clients. The absolute most fulfilling thing that gets me out of bed every morning, even when I'm tired or, been working for 18 days straight, is how much transformation I'm able to see my clients get and how much I see their lives change. So when I see them quitting their 9-to-5 job, when I see them make their first sale, when I see them making, thousands of dollars per month, $10,000, having their first 5-figure month, that is so, so hugely fulfilling and rewarding. And I wouldn't get that if I was only focused on selling them a $200 course and I had no idea how it was doing, or if it was helping them, or anything else about it. And I think you will hear people that end up making this kind of business model where it's nearly entirely passive often go into some sort of, sadness or loneliness, or they can get depressed. And there's a huge amount of factors that can go into that kind of thing. So I'm not trying to pretend that I understand the complete correlation and that it's all due to passive income, but it's just something to know. Do you want to build a business where you're not connecting with your clients? Do you want to build a business where you're not seeing the results face to face? Do you want to have an impact? And if so, are you going to be able to do it if you're not really working directly with the people that are consuming your material and your content? Okay, another thing I wish I would have known that I actually recently found out this statistic, and it's so spot on. A real passive income funnel, a real one, like where from beginning to end, you have traffic passively coming in, you have, people learning about whatever it is that you sell, and eventually you have them buying and you not doing anything, you doing it totally hands off, takes about a year to actually profit from. So that means you're spending a year testing sales pages, getting people's testimonials, testing different emails, testing different sales strategies, testing different traffic, sources, etc. You are perfecting all of that. And you're spending, if you're making any money, if you are making sales, which it's not guaranteed that you will, like I want everyone to be really clear about that. Just because you put a sales funnel out there doesn't mean the first time around people are going to bite. Like, this is why we have to test so much and why we need to learn from people. So if you start making money, then you need to be putting it back into your testing of it. You need to be putting it back in ads so you can get more data. Excuse me, let me take a sip of water. You can hire a designer to help you with the sales page. You can hire a copywriter. Like, all these things you need to do in order to make sure that this is converting at a high percentage. For you to actually have it passively, it takes about a year to perfect all of that. So I don't want that to scare you away necessarily, but I just want to illustrate the point, which is really what this whole episode is about. Passive income is not an easy way out. It actually takes so much upfront work. It takes so much failure. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but like, you have to test so many different things, and you have to really figure out what does and doesn't work if you want it to be a well-oiled machine. So knowing that it takes about a year to actually profit from some sort of passive funnel should really help you understand what you need to be doing in the meantime. You probably need to do a service. And I know so many people come to me and they say, like, I read the 4-Hour Work Week and I want to be making money from my hammock, and I just know that I could, build digital assets and hire a team and they could be selling 24/7. Now, I don't want you to think that you need to always do service-based work. Like, this isn't a 9-to-5 job. But for the beginning, when you are just trying to get things going and you are trying to spend the money so that you can get information about your funnel and you can get information about your passive funnels, you need to have a way to fund it. So you can think of your service-based work as an investment in yourself and your own business, basically. It is not like sacrificing the dream of never working. It's making that dream happen. You know what I mean? So for instance, if you are a graphic designer, and you have a dream of making an e-course about graphic design for entrepreneurs, like Photoshop or something like that, that sells totally passively so that you don't need to, do it. For in the meantime, while you're building that funnel, while you're perfecting the course, while you're getting testimonials, while you're getting traffic, etc., you probably want to have some graphic design clients. Doesn't mean it needs to forever be like that, but in the moment, it will help you if you are not having to rely on your funnel to get all your money that you need to live, when really your money should be going back into the funnel to perfect it. Okay, next thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this whole thing is this is probably going to make some people a bit annoyed, so I'm just going to go for it because sometimes you just have to lay it down. And again, this is something I was a victim to. If something sounds easy and good and too good to be true, it probably is. And I recently heard in a podcast that if you feel like you are really attracted to easy things, or you're really attracted to very profitable things, and you're not like really examining why or what you're going to do about this, then it's usually an indication of laziness. And I know that might sound harsh. And again, it's something I'm saying to myself. And I never have thought of myself as a lazy person. I've always been pretty self-disciplined, but I still would go back to me a few years ago when I was starting out and say, why aren't you willing to do the work that it takes to really make this happen? Why are you so excited about something passive or something that's easy or something that's overnight or something that doesn't take any work? Like, what is really drawing you in about that? And usually it's because you're looking for a quick way out of whatever situation you're in. You are just hoping that things are going to be easy, and you're not really willing to do the work that it takes to make things happen. I don't want anyone to be fooling themselves about how much work it takes to go to make any business successful, let alone a passive income stream. It is not for the faint of heart. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But instead, this is why we have people at 9-to-5 jobs their entire life. This is why we have people that always say they're going to do something and then don't. This is why people are living in are just waiting for things to happen in their future and not taking action right now. It's because it's actually hard. So you need to ask yourself, if I am being attracted to someone who's promising me passive income and it sounds really easy, what's going on there? Because that probably is more of an indication on you than them. That probably indicates that you are looking for any escape out of your current situation and that you might not be really willing to do the work that it takes to make this happen. So have an honest heart-to-heart with yourself. What are you really willing to do? What are you willing to do to change your life? What are you willing to do to change your finances? What are you willing to do to have complete freedom and complete control? You can have it. It is at your grasp, but it is going to take a lot of hard work, and it is going to take faith in yourself. And if you don't have those things, it's a bumpy ride. But if you do, nothing can stop you, because then you're not living in fear. You're not afraid of every investment. You're not afraid of failure. You're not afraid of doing the work. You're not afraid of missing out on parties so that you can, stay in sometimes and work on your business, because you are so confident that things are going to work out for you. Okay, one more point, and then we are going to wrap this up. And that is just that courses, like everything in business and life, it is a cycle. I think that it had its heyday where everyone was obsessed with it. I think people started really wanting to crave more human connection, so it kind of faltered a little bit. I also think it got a bit saturated, and I also think that consumers started realizing that courses can be helpful. Some of the time I've taken courses that have changed my life. I do not want to bash them. But a lot of times you don't end up finishing it, or you end up having more specific questions because you're just, not a carbon copy of everything else. all these things that have made people go back to wanting more connection, wanting more one-on-one work, wanting more community, wanting, you know, really that sense of impact and co-creation when they're learning, and not just feeling like they're being given a textbook of how to do something that isn't really personalized to them necessarily, and so it doesn't really relate to them or resonate with them. But my point here is that don't fall in love with any type of one way to sell things. I don't recommend falling in love with being a coach or consultant per se. I don't recommend falling in love with being a blogger. I don't recommend falling in love with being a course creator. I recommend falling in love with your mission. Because when that's where you start from, if that's where you're really on, you know, where you're really starting with this, then you can do that in any medium. You can do that in any form. And so when courses are popular, you can make a course about your mission. When you are wanting to do a live event, because now that's what people really want to do, they want in-person stuff, you can do a live event about your mission. When you want to do, you know, one-on-one coaching, or you want to do a service or whatever, you can do that. So really hone in on not what it is that you want to create, but why you want to create it, and what kind of like perfect case scenario you would have if you got a letter from someone who did take your course, or was your client, or did go to your event, went to anything of yours, and they were saying like how overjoyed they were. What would it say and why, and what type of impact would you have made? That's where we should lead from. Okay, this has been a little bit of a ranty episode. Thank you guys for bearing with me, but this is obviously really important to me because I think a lot of these points hold people back from really reaching their full potential. They might be attracted to business, and then they start thinking that they're attracted to it for one reason, and they lose sight of really the thing they want to put out there in the world and what they're really motivated about. And then they don't really go for it, or they hold themselves back, you know, and no one wants that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. And if you are interested in further mentorship with me, I'm obviously a straight shooter, but I get my clients really, really great results. I have a spot open in my mastermind, which is my most elite, highest offering. And it is a 6-month program. So if you are interested in that at all, it will be invite only, but we'd love to hear from you and see if you could be a good fit for that final invitation. Just email us at help@urban20something.com, or just message me on Facebook or Instagram. We would love to talk with you. Or if you have any other questions about your side hustle, your business, really making sure you're not holding yourself back, I am here for you. I want to hear from you guys. So let me know what is going on. In the meantime, I hope you have an amazing, amazing week. I will talk to you guys all soon. And here is to your biggest vision.